I'm much better now that the ladies are back from space.
What were they up there, 10 minutes? Well, yeah, and I also think it's fun to see somebody who has no self-awareness.
Yeah.
They're always the most fun.
Along with PR experts who are claiming the singer may face career extinction.
The 11-minute space flight that was touted as some kind of divine feminine gift to humanity.
That was one small step for womankind, one giant leap backwards for mankind.
Well, it was very profound. I don't know if you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru now.
Please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up, no one called that a ride. It was called a flight. It was called a journey, because a ride implies that it's something frivolous.
Lots of other people in the media were embarrassing themselves during this ordeal. Oprah Winfrey actually wept as she watched the all-female team launch into space.
Let's not minimize this. Let's celebrate female astronauts.
That's the other thing. There has been female astronauts.
Let's not minimize.
Because, you know what I was saying? It was like quiet, but then also really alive.
Katy Perry went to space. But did she really? At first glance, it seemed like a groundbreaking moment that would inspire millions. However, as details unfolded, what initially appeared to be a historic achievement quickly devolved into one of the most significant PR disasters of her career. Her highly publicized space trip of the century raised more questions than answers, leaving critics and fans alike skeptical about its true purpose and meaning. Was this genuinely a step forward for women in exploration, or was it merely another overproduced spectacle funded by billionaire indulgences? The controversy surrounding Katy Perry's journey wasn't just about the 11 minutes she spent floating in zero gravity. It was about how the event was marketed, perceived, and ultimately received. From dramatic speeches upon landing to staged photo opportunities with flowers symbolizing resilience, every aspect of the trip seemed meticulously crafted to create an image of profound significance. Yet, instead of admiration, the reaction was overwhelmingly negative. Why did such a seemingly positive gesture backfire so spectacularly? What happened during those few moments in space? And why did the world react with mockery rather than celebration?
To going up, you said that you needed to go to space to heal. I know you're only a few minutes removed from this.
I feel super connected to love.
Goodness. I will never be the same.
I've had so many people reach out to me and say, because you did it, it makes me think I can do it too.
You know, it's so funny. She said she's heard from women and girls who have said to her, I didn't realize this is something I could do. You know how I know that didn't happen, Megan? Because it's not something they could do. Because they're not friends with Jeff Bezos, right? Like, take up space! Woo! Their message for women was take up space. You guys are taking up too much space already.
Olivia Wilde reposted an image of Katy Perry kissing the ground. She was acting like she got back from Apollo 13.
It's so much money to go to space. Yeah. There's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs. What are they going to do up there that has made it better for us down here?
There's nothing frivolous about what we did. Let's see how it went on board the Blue Origin spacecraft.
Flip, I got you.
With her daisy.
I got you, Flip.
Martha Stewart, God bless Martha Stewart. She posted something online because she went up in a flight that achieved zero gravity.
I boarded a Boeing 727 aircraft called G-Force One and experienced what astronauts feel when they reach zero gravity.
Gayle King, upset, had a few things that she needed to explain to those of us who don't understand what a hero she is. They've gone next level. The montage of them about them.
There, it's dark. It's like death.
And I'm so proud of us. I really am proud of me.
Flowers for me. I brought a daisy because I have so much love for my daughter Daisy, and I have so much love for Mother Earth.
If I can do this, I was telling these guys, I might even now get my ears pierced. I've never gotten my ears pierced because that hurts.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space.
None of the people in this capsule could actually operate anything. It was all being remotely controlled. So it was cool. They took a very, very expensive, very, very cool roller coaster ride.
Lauren Sanchez was also reduced to tears by the experience.
6 women just did the same flight that...
Yeah.
He didn't.
Aww, I just want to keep hugging you.
We duplicated the trajectory of Alan Shepard's flight back in the day.
In July 2023, Katy Perry stepped into the global spotlight by boarding Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin spacecraft for an 11-minute journey into suborbital space. This brief trip, which many liken to a high-tech roller coaster ride, was marketed as nothing short of a life-altering experience. Perry herself described the excursion with poetic fervor, calling it a profound moment that allowed her to connect deeply with humanity and marvel at Earth's breathtaking beauty. The singer even went so far as to compare this fleeting venture into space with one of the most significant events in her life, second only to giving birth to her daughter. But beneath the flowery rhetoric and carefully staged moments lies a critical question. Was this truly a groundbreaking achievement worthy of celebration? Or was it merely a luxurious escapade reserved for the ultra-wealthy, wrapped up in a glossy PR package designed to mask its lack of substance? As the world watched Perry float weightlessly above Earth's atmosphere, it became increasingly clear that opinions were sharply divided. For some, it was an inspiring tale of female empowerment. For others, it was just another example of performative activism, where grand gestures overshadowed tangible contributions. This dichotomy sparked widespread debate, forcing people to reconsider what qualifies as meaningful progress in today's celebrity-driven culture. While Perry spoke passionately about healing, unity, and spiritual awakening during interviews after her return, critics couldn't help but point out the stark contrast between her emotional speeches and the reality of the situation. After all, when you break it down, was this really much different from paying an exorbitant amount of money for an adrenaline rush in a billionaire-branded capsule? With each passing day, the narrative surrounding Katy Perry's space trip of the century grew more complex, raising questions not only about the significance of her journey, but also about the societal values that allow such stunts to dominate headlines in the first place.
In case you didn't know, Alan Shepard is famous because he was the first American to go to space in 1961. So we don't celebrate the people who do it as on a tourist trip 60 years later. We celebrate the people who were the first to do it. Gail doesn't want us to say that she took a ride, but that is in fact what she did. She took a ride on a remotely piloted craft. Anyone who denies my achievement is second.
Earth looked it was so quiet. It was just quiet.
And now we're supposed to celebrate her crossing new barriers for women, meaning boinking a billionaire and getting a free ticket to space for 11. They got in their special Oscar de la Renta designed suits, laid down in a capsule, and came back in 10 minutes, you guys.
They admired the universe, and what they were expecting was for us to admire the fact that they were rich enough and famous enough to have been granted this utterly vacuous experience from which they learned absolutely nothing.
And this right here is the moment that they've been training for. 2 days, becoming a crew, becoming a team.
But the training, it all comes down to, literally, they learned how to buckle their seatbelts. And I asked my team to poll, what did they do during their 2 days? Their tasks, they spent the past 2 days practicing how to get into and out of the New Shepard capsule.
We are the Taking Up Space crew. There's 6 of us, all women. It's a historical flight to space because it's the first time that all women have been in space.
The accomplishment of Blue Origin is that Katy Perry went to space. Do you see the difference? Do you understand the difference here? The accomplishment is not that, it is not in the hands of these women. These women did nothing. Truly, they could not have possibly done less for this 11 minutes.
The media quickly jumped on the narrative, framing Katy Perry's space trip as a feminist milestone, an all-female crew making history by venturing into space. Headlines praised the event as a groundbreaking moment for women, celebrating the idea that these passengers represented progress in gender equality within the realm of space exploration. However, as the dust settled, many began to question whether this truly deserved such grandiose labeling. Critics pointed out that the women involved weren't astronauts in the traditional sense. They were simply passengers on a pre-programmed flight designed and executed by others. Unlike actual astronauts who undergo years of rigorous training, face significant risks, and contribute meaningfully to scientific research, these individuals had no real role in the mission beyond being present. There were no experiments conducted during the flight, no challenges overcome, and no tangible contributions made to the field of science or space exploration. For some, this felt like nothing more than performative activism, a superficial attempt to piggyback on important social movements without delivering any genuine substance. Instead of marking real progress, it seemed to detract from the achievements of true female pioneers in STEM fields, overshadowing their hard work and dedication with flashy but hollow gestures.
Feels like you hand-selected a couple of friends to go do this. You should have been a lottery system like Willy Wonka, where just 7 random people
pull out some guy who's not supposed to be here.
Cashier at HEB, someone from MS13. What were they up there, 10 minutes?
Well, it was very profound. I don't know if you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru now.
Yeah. What were her findings? That's my question. Wow.
Look at her nails. So pretty.
Now, so they go up there and they float for like 10 minutes?
At least.
And then
let's not minimize this.
No, I know.
Let's not minimize this. For real, they did float for 10 minutes.
Because a lot of men astronauts, they have to go to school.
Right.
They have to learn how to be a pilot first. Then they have to join the Air Force or the Navy. And then they get appointed by NASA.
That's right.
And then they go to space. You know?
But that's the other thing. There has been female astronauts.
Let's not minimize this. Is that she was rescued by
Elon Musk, who chose
who exposed fraud and waste.
Yes. Did Musk rescue? Oh, interesting.
Oh, where's that?
I chatted about it on my show. I saw her say something about we weren't taking space, we're making space.
That's the one I want to say.
Which I thought was an interesting scientific.
It's not this one?
No. I got another one. I got some better.
Well, yeah, and I also think it's fun to see somebody who has no self-awareness. Yeah. They're always the most fun. To hear the richest guy in the world's
Lauren Sanchez
wife go, we're all in it together.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't know if people feel that.
Yeah, 1,000.
Joe Rogan wasn't holding back when he discussed Katy Perry's space trip on his podcast. Known for his sharp wit and unfiltered opinions, Rogan dove deep into the controversy, calling out what he saw as an overly dramatized and self-indulgent spectacle. He pointed out just how ridiculous it was to label this brief suborbital jaunt, a mere 11-minute ride, as a historic event. In Rogan's view, the entire narrative surrounding Perry's space trip of the century felt like a PR stunt designed to distract from its lack of substance. His calm, yet cutting analysis resonated strongly with listeners who already felt disillusioned by the whole ordeal. Many agreed that the media coverage had blown the event far out of proportion, turning it into something it wasn't, a groundbreaking moment in human history. As Rogan succinctly put it during the episode, if anyone can call themselves an astronaut after taking an expensive ride, then the word loses all meaning. This statement struck a chord with his audience, highlighting the absurdity of labeling passengers on a billionaire-funded joyride as astronauts. It wasn't about denying the technical achievements of companies like Blue Origin. Rather, it was about questioning whether such trips should be framed as milestones for humanity or merely seen for what they were, luxury experiences for the ultra-wealthy. The internet didn't waste a single second before responding to Katy Perry's space trip with waves of memes, roasts, and biting commentary. Social media exploded as users poked fun at every detail, from her dramatic gesture of kissing the ground upon landing to her decision to bring a literal daisy into space for resilience. It was clear that the public wasn't buying the carefully constructed narrative Perry and her team had tried to sell. One particularly viral tweet summed up the general sentiment perfectly. Can we send her back? The line struck a chord because it highlighted how out of touch the entire spectacle seemed to many people. Even celebrities like Olivia Wilde got in on the action, reposting images of Perry's overly theatrical return to Earth, complete with captions that dripped with sarcasm. Each meme, GIF, and comment piled onto the growing pile of criticism, making it evident that the audience saw straight through the staged performance. People weren't inspired. They were insulted. They felt mocked by the idea that an 11-minute joyride in a billionaire's spaceship could somehow be equated with real achievements in science or exploration. Some joked about turning the experience into a reality TV show, while others created parodies comparing the flight to Disney rides or luxury vacations. With each passing hour, the mockery grew more intense, showing just how far removed the public was from Perry's vision of herself as a modern-day pioneer. By the end of the day, it was undeniable. The narrative had failed spectacularly, and the backlash was only beginning. Adding even more fuel to the already blazing fire, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, intervened to set the record straight. In an official statement, the FAA clarified that according to their strict guidelines, none of the passengers aboard the Blue Origin flight could be classified as astronauts. The reason? None of them performed any safety-critical tasks during the mission. These tasks typically involve piloting the spacecraft, managing complex systems, or ensuring the safe operation of the vehicle, responsibilities that were entirely absent from Katy Perry's role. Instead, her journey was essentially a hands-off experience where everything was remotely controlled and pre-programmed. This revelation dealt a significant blow to Katy Perry's claims, further solidifying the public perception that this so-called historic achievement was nothing more than a luxurious joyride for the ultra-wealthy elite. It highlighted how far removed the event was from genuine space exploration or meaningful contributions to science. By stripping away the glamorous facade, the FAA's announcement left little room for debate. This trip wasn't about pushing boundaries or inspiring future generations. It was simply an extravagant spectacle for those who could afford it. Martha Stewart's response to Katy Perry's space escapade was nothing short of brilliant, and she did it all without saying a word. In a move that spoke volumes, Stewart shared a throwback clip from 2007 where she could be seen casually floating in zero gravity aboard a commercial aircraft. Unlike the glitz and glamour of Perry's highly produced mission, Martha's experience was simple, unassuming, and refreshingly real. Her caption summed it up perfectly: "The drag we needed." With just 3 words, she dismantled the entire spectacle surrounding Perry's trip. By showcasing her own understated approach to space travel, Stewart highlighted how unnecessary the elaborate branding campaign around Perry's journey truly was. While Katy Perry had brought along flowers, delivered emotional speeches, and staged every moment for maximum impact, Martha proved that you don't need to oversell an experience to make it meaningful. Her quiet confidence and lack of pretense made Perry's theatrics look even more exaggerated and contrived. What made Martha's clapback so effective was its subtext. She wasn't pretending to be an astronaut or crying over Earth's beauty. She simply floated, smiled, landed, and moved on, all without ever calling herself anything more than someone who experienced zero gravity. This subtle yet devastating critique resonated deeply with viewers who saw through the performative nature of Perry's trip. Users quickly reposted Martha's clip alongside captions like, "Glamour is an innovation and she did it better 17 years ago." In one fell swoop, Martha Stewart turned the conversation back to what truly matters: authenticity. Her laid-back, no-nonsense attitude served as a masterclass in restraint and contrasted sharply with the overproduced narrative spun by Katy Perry. It wasn't about being louder or snarkier. It was about proving that sometimes less is much, much more. And in doing so, Martha Stewart became the ultimate boss of the clapbacks, leaving little room for debate. So, was Katy Perry's space trip a genuine triumph of female empowerment? Or was it just another example of performative celebrity activism designed to generate buzz rather than bring about meaningful change? On the surface, the flight itself might seem harmless, a brief journey into suborbital space that lasted only 11 minutes. However, it was the way this event was marketed and perceived by the public that ultimately turned it into one of the most ridiculed moments of her career. The elaborate staging, the emotional speeches, and the carefully curated symbolism, all of it came across as overly dramatized and out of touch with reality. Instead of inspiring admiration, these efforts sparked widespread mockery, with critics pointing out the stark contrast between Katy Perry's space trip of the century and the actual achievements of real astronauts who risk their lives and dedicate years to advancing scientific knowledge. This incident raises important questions about the role of celebrity stunts in today's media landscape. Can such high-profile events truly inspire real change, or are they merely distractions from deeper societal issues? By framing her trip as a feminist milestone, Perry and her team attempted to tap into broader cultural conversations around gender equality and women in STEM. But instead of empowering, the message felt hollow, like a well-scripted PR campaign that prioritized optics over substance. For many, this wasn't just about Katy Perry. It symbolized a larger trend where celebrities use grand gestures to mask underlying irrelevance or declining relevance in their careers. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Katy Perry deserved the backlash she received? Or was she unfairly targeted for doing something that countless other celebrities have done before? Was her space adventure a genuine attempt at rebranding herself as a trailblazer? Or was it simply another example of how far some will go to stay relevant in an increasingly crowded entertainment industry? This story invites us all to reflect on what we value in our public figures. Is it their ability to entertain and captivate, or is it their capacity to inspire authentic progress and leave lasting legacies?